matter what people want you to believe, don't ever turn back on your dreams. Told in your
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Alana here. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. Of course, today as I'm filming this, it's Monday, March the 18th, 2024. We just had St. Patty's Day yesterday. So to those who celebrate, happy St. Patty's Day. So of course, if you're new, welcome. Thank you for joining me on my channel. And if you are coming back, welcome back. Thank you for being here. If you haven't already, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll always be updated when I post my next video. So today I wanted to as I started this series, therapy and tarot, and basically it's really not only just to talk about the importance of therapy, as a mental health advocate. We're in a global mental health crisis, and this is the year of self. This is a karmic year. We just entered, or rather, as we're in Pisces season, and then we just had the new moon in Pisces. So Pisces in Pisces is, is coming ahead, right? So it's and it's weird how this sort of fits in for me, because actually Pisces is is the opposite sign of Virgo. And and I'm a Sun Virgo, and a Venus Virgo. So anyway, but that's kind of how, a little bit of how, for me, I guess, talking about synchronicities and, things coming into alignment, and how I sort of see, everything coming full circle for me. But anyway, as I talk about therapy, and the importance of therapy and healing and mental health, right? And mindfulness and self-awareness, and how, how our actions, as individuals, how a lot of it can be influenced by past traumas and things like that. But when we don't do the healing work to address these past traumas, oftentimes there are behaviors and things that we develop, in a matter of self-protection, in a manner of self-preservation, right? But oftentimes what ends up happening is the trauma responses that we adhere to for self-preservation, when we don't address them, as we progress in our lives, to see how those sort of what becomes etched in our way of living, and the choices that we make, whether it be consciously or unconsciously, and how then the destructive side of that can be when we are now facing situations where there is no threat, and we still perceive a threat based on our unhealed past traumas and generational wounding, that can then lead us to make decisions that then have a further negative effect upon, you know, the rest of society, you know, in our interactions, which ultimately, as you know, as the understanding of karma and the cycle of life, what we put out is what will return to us, right? So whether it be in the present, in our present lifetime, or in the generations to follow us, you know, and having this bittersweet sort of moment to be stuck the way that I am, living like a real life hermit, I've been able to not only do the deep introspection work for myself, you know, and to heal, you know, all that I've had to endure, you know, and taking a deep dive into that for the last 41 years of my life, but also, you know, it's given me the opportunity to be able to observe the downfalls in society, and I can tell you, as strong as an empath as I am, and that, you know, I'm now learning, I've always been, even in my healing process, I find it very hard to stomach, which is why I stopped watching the news in 2020. You know, and I think I've said that before, you know, and it's just how I've come to this sort of self-discovery. And anyways, all that being aside, why I why I felt the need to do this videos today is because I wanted to highlight a very special deck that, you know, has recently come into my collection, and I feel is such a beautiful representation, and, you know, and it is beautifully aligned with, you know, what my practice is evolving into today, not only for myself, but as I, you know, want to continue developing it, you know, professionally, and, you know, and expanding that way. So anyways, with that being said, this is, so there has been a few decks that I've now switched, and I'm now putting away. And if you haven't checked any of my other videos, to see what I have been working with, in the last, you know, few weeks since the start of the new year, I definitely encourage you to check that out. On my channel, I very much enjoy being able to connect with creators, and, you know, and to not only to show my appreciation for their work, but also to be able to gush and talk about how in alignment I feel that it is with the greatest and highest good of all, right? And how I personally have been able to benefit from it as well. So anyhow, with all that being said, let's get into the Elemental Alchemist Oracle deck, that is created by sister duo Nyasha Williams and Grace Banda, which is also accompanied with the illustrations done by Kamisha Nadu, who is also the illustrator who partnered with Nyasha Williams on the Black Tarot, which was released by Running Press last year, and is also a deck that I used last year, in one of my videos, or maybe a couple of my videos. So if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to check that out. It is up on my channel. But why I wanted to talk about this deck and how I feel like it's so fitting, and even the timing of it coming out and everything like that, why I feel this deck is so special, and that's because, well, other than the fact that it's published by Andrews McMeel Publishing, and Andrews McMeel Publishing is a publishing house that I have been familiar with for years, and that is because of the books, and a lot of the poetry books that they have been releasing, that I have been falling in love with during the time of what I would consider the decade of me rebuilding the tower of my life. And, you know, so of course they have people, very much like R.H. Sin, and I love all of his books. And if you follow him on Instagram, he posts every day on his Instagram sort of channel, and the poetry is brilliant and is very intuitively done. So if you haven't checked that out, I encourage you to do so. And of course, there's so many other and right now I don't know why, but my brain is freezing on names. But you know, the author of Milk and Honey, and there's just...
Hey guys, Future Atlanta Self here. So I was saying a bunch of stuff, and I somehow it cut out and I didn't realize. So just to catch you up, I'm here talking about the accompanying journal for this deck, as well as the accompanying journal for the Black Tarot, by Nyasha Williams, who is the creator of this deck. So yeah, that's where we're at.
I don't have those, but I feel like they would be amazing and would be together, combined with, you know, the work that an individual will do in therapy I feel is phenomenal. So anyway, so why I like that is because, of course, therapy, you know, professional help, you know, the access to that, you know, given in today's society, but also with the aspect of that it's you're not going to therapy every day, right? It's usually probably once a week. It's probably once a month, and probably for half an hour to an hour, right? So depending on, you know, the type of therapy, you know, the type of counseling or whatever that you may be engaging in. So, you know, what do we do in between those times to aid us in our healing, you know, process? So this is why I feel like things like this, you know, is truly essential in that. So I'm just gonna quickly flip through the cards. You have the soul, the ancestors, spiritual awakening, the mother, the divine. That's this right? If we understanding the 5 elements, right? There's the earth, there's the fire, there's air, and there's water. And then there's the 5th, which is the spirit, which often gets forgotten about sometimes. But if you know, a movie that comes directly to mind that explains this very, very well is, of course, the old movie with starring Mila Jovovich and Bruce Willis, and that is The Fifth Element. That is like one of my all-time favorite movies. I grew up on that movie, you know, from you know, and remember that movie from my, you know, tween days, you know, and so on. And if you, in the beginning of that movie, well, maybe not quite the beginning, we're like maybe you're about a quarter in now of the movie, I think I would say. Even Disney Frozen, okay, like, I mean, right, but the one that I'm talking about, again, you know, we have real actors playing the roles, well, as opposed to fake ones, but I meant real people as opposed to it being a cartoon, like, or Disney animated, like Frozen. But like, again, the idea that to save the world, it needed to be a combination of all elements, right? And that including spirit, right? Which happens to be represented by a woman. Anyways, so we have Goddess of the East. Now we're into the air. No, yes, the air element. Goddess of the East, knowledge, intuition, renewal, change. Let's see. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay. And yeah, my light went off. Anyways, so change. And then what I like about, because we understanding the flow of DNA and, you know, karmic cycles and the loop of life, right? And the natural cycle, what goes up must come down. What, you know, what goes in must come out. What, you know, what goes left must go right. Like, it, you get what I mean, right? So with that being said, even in each element category, from what I seem to. Okay, so the video cut out. So I also let my stand for my light charge. So we're gonna just continue from there. So yeah, so I was showing you the cards, but of course I was a little too close up. So let me just recap before, like, I sort of continue with my thought process. So the soul, the ancestors, spiritual awakening, the mother, the divine. Now, of course, that's the spirit category, and then we have the air, goddess of the East, knowledge, intuition, renewal, change. And so this is the part, I think, where the video also cut off. And so what I was saying, what I really like about this deck is the fact that within each element, with maybe the exception of the spirit, because I feel like that one's just sort of, the cards in it are stage based. Okay, like, so like representing the major arcana, if you will. Yeah, Whereas the elements, the element cards, like, so with, you know, with the air, there's like a set of what I would consider positive cards and negative cards. And in some, there's like the sort of like the middle ground or halfway point, which you'll see as I continue through the cards. But yeah, so right here we have change, right? And that, and to me, that's the middle ground there, with like the fortune of, and the cycle of, even when we think about the law of karma and the cycle of things, right? And the fluidity, if you will. So change. And then now we go into the negative side of the I would say the air element, with, and we move into dishonesty, touchy, fickle, inconsistent, and then now moving into, the fire cards now here. We have Goddess of the South, passion, inspiration / creativity, daring / courageous, protection, urge to destroy / violence, irritable, anger, and arrogance. Now we move into the earth element, and we have Goddess of the North, fertility, wealth / abundance, wisdom, strength / stability, superficial, scornful, cumbersome, lack of conscience, and then we have now the water element, and we have Goddess of the West, healing, expression, peace, compassion, indifference, laziness, instability, and finally we have rigidity. And it's just something too that I feel like, even with the the key words on there, with the images and the order in which that it's organized in the guidebook, which is, of course, when I put my decks back, when I'm done working with them for that time being, I do put them back in I spend time to put them back into whatever chronological order that it comes in, whether that be alphabetically, numerically, categorically, whatever, right? So I really like how clearly everything is laid out, and I feel, like I said, is very much in alignment with, you know, that idea of mindfulness work and introspection, and really, you know, doing the mirror work, not just for the healing of the trauma that you've had to endure, you know, in this you know, in this embodiment of life, or throughout your generations, but also being able to take a good look in the mirror to see, you know, the parts of self that, because of trauma endured, has influenced, you know, a pattern of behavior that has just been, that has just become destructive to self, to you know, your family line, to ultimately to the whole of society, right? And being able to do that work, and to be brave enough to dive that deep, so that you can heal those woundings, so that we can, you know, change the karmic patterns of our past behaviors, you know, for the greater good of self and all of humanity. Because when we do things for the sake of the greatest good, we ultimately do the greatest good for ourselves, right? And our lineage moving forward. So, you know, I really hope that, you know, this trend of really doing introspection, doing the healing, really taking a look at, you know, and really breaking that stigma for mental health, and doing the work to heal, so that we're not inflicting further pain on, you know, ourselves, and you know, and ultimately, you know, us all, because what we do affects us all, right? And ultimately Mother Earth, you know, where we come from, where we go back to, you know, and even Mother Earth is still part of a greater, larger perspective, right? The universe, you know. So with that all being said, I hope that you enjoyed this video today. Please, you know, please hit that like button, share and subscribe, and, you know, let's try to bridge this gap of divide, of spirituality, and you know, all for the greatest and highest good of all humanity. So just to, you know, just to close out, so you know, and I'll probably do another video coming up in a little bit, that I'm using now, by James Van Praagh, the Power of Love activation cards, and this is published by, oh yeah, it is Hay House. Haha. Okay. So, and still rocking with Love Is Always the Way. These are the back of the activation cards. I'll probably, you know, show how I'm working with them in a later video. Still trekking along with the Pleasure Alchemy. And that's the deck by Maud White, published by Running Press. And now I've got from Y Spell, I'm in the middle of using the Neoteric Feminine deck. So far, I'm loving the way that it shuffles, and you know, it's got that gold gilding, and kind of reminds me of the Black Femme Tarot a little bit. There's a few other decks that I've seen that the artistry seems relatively similar, but it's each deck has its own flair, and so does the guidebook. So yeah, and of course the Lilifers are still cycling through. So yes, I absolutely love these decks, and they shall forever remain in my collection. So anyways, with all that being said, thank you for joining me today. As I am love, so are you. I am human, you are too. I love you very, very much. And until I see you next time, please always live, listen, and learn. Take care of yourself and each other. And while you're at it, me too. Thank you. I love you. Bye.
No matter what people